getting to do those scenes was a dream come true. Everyone in their great ski outfits. I think that would be brilliant.
Everyone comes to Thailand, they're either hiding from someone or they're looking for someone.
I think the cosmos brought us together. I'm gonna help you bring your joy back.
I miss Jennifer Coolidge a great deal. I loved working with her. She's so talented and just, I mean, she's an icon. I remember watching season 2, and the moment she fell off the boat, I texted her. I was like, what the I had no warning because I hadn't read the script, so I found out along with everyone else. But I'm so proud of her, run on the show, and just to say that I've, shared the screen with her is such an honor.
Go big or go home, right?
Mm-hmm. In a goddamn body bag.
I was there for 7 months in Thailand. 7 months, and it is so beautiful, and Koh Samui is literal paradise. But I was ready to come home at the end, just because you do start kind of forgetting who you are a little bit, because you're living in the hotels that you're filming in, and you're only seeing the cast and crew, and it all just gets a little bit claustrophobic. But I mean, Thailand's incredible. Bangkok is one of my favorite cities. I could definitely live there. I loved it. But yeah, I was ready to come home. 7 months was a long time. And we also went over the time that we said we would go to, so the ending kept being pushed. So it felt a little bit like, are we ever gonna go home?
We shot in Thailand for about 6 months, and it was one of the most incredible experiences I've ever had, personally or professionally, certainly creatively. It was so exciting to be in a country that is so different from America, right? I think what's really cool with what Mike does is he kind of takes Western culture and he kind of confronts it with like Eastern spirituality, and it's really beautiful what we got to experience with the Thai culture and the Thai people. And we had a lot of downtime. So when we weren't working and enjoying all those things, we got to really explore and have little adventures. I learned how to dive there, and that became like a real favorite pastime of mine while I was there. And it was really special. And we ate a lot, because we're not fools.
Filming in Thailand was wild, and it's such a beautiful country. And while I was there, I learned it's never been colonized. And I think that there's a certain beauty that escapes other places that have, They're not sort of constantly processing, historical trauma. There's a beauty of being able to access and celebrate the freedom, that they have there. And feeling that while I was there was really powerful. And yeah, it's a beautiful country. It's hot but I loved it.
It's a wellness center. You should get a facial. Rick, the lady in the airport thought you were my dad.
Oh my God.
So I played Jaclyn Lemon in The White Lotus. She is a famous Hollywood TV star, and she is going on a girls' trip with some of her childhood best friends, played by Leslie Bibb and Carrie Coon. As the season progresses, we sort of discover that some of their facade that they've been presenting to each other is like their perfect lives. It kind of starts to fade away, and that's kind of when all the White Lotus-y stuff happens.
My character Chelsea she's not a typical White Lotus guest, and she's also not a staff member. She's a bit of a misfit. She's a bit of an outsider, and she's very not aware of she's not a part of this world. So she wouldn't really know what the White Lotus Resort was. And she doesn't really know why she's there at the beginning. I think that was really helpful to play someone who was oblivious to the White Lotus, because it meant that I could pretend that I was oblivious to the show and just play the story of Chelsea. And she's kind of in her own world anyway, and on her own mission, which is the mission of love. So I just kind of, got to play like a really fun, romantic, kind of unstable but lovable girl.
It's been a huge difference, season 3 to season 1, for a myriad of reasons. I mean, season 1 we shot in one location. We weren't allowed to leave the hotel we were staying at, so it really was sort of art in a bubble. It was kind of like White Lotus, all lowercase. And now it's White Lotus, capital, underline, bold. And it feels really cool to have been a part of the genesis of that, and so sort of humbling to be back. Mike reached out to me while he was shooting season 2, and he's like, I'm noodling around this idea for season 3. I didn't know to what extent or if at all it would actually happen, just because it's Hollywood and you never know. And I was so thrilled to actually have it all manifest and be a part.
Old friends.
Long-time friends, not old.
What happens in Thailand stays in Thailand.
Oh, what does that mean?
One of my favorite moments of shooting season 3 is with the ladies. We call them the ladies. It's the ladies storyline. We got to take part in Thailand's New Year's festival. It's their very big holiday. It's called Songkran. And the ladies kind of go out to sightsee for the day, and they kind of get stuck at this festival, and a lot of things ensue. And it was just really special because it's unbeknownst to me, I wasn't aware of this holiday and the meaning behind it, and so to get to experience that with the Thai people was really nice, and then the fun that we had shooting it was just, it's very hysterical.
I think like all of the scenes with Rick and Chelsea, like just across from the table, because those scenes in the White Lotus, especially season 1, of like the dinners where it's just tense and the dialogue's so good and it's all just like the subtext and the kind of bubbling under. Any scenes like that, like getting to do those scenes was a dream come true, because I was like, I have just watched this show and wanted to be at one of those dinner tables, and then I was at one. But then also just hanging out with everyone, like getting to know people so well, because you're there for such a long time and there isn't much of an escape, so you kind of become really close. So yeah, making some lifelong, like Leslie, I still speak to like every day. We voice note because we were so close, and actually the day that we got separated, we were both sobbing, like, because it was it's the longest job I've ever done, and I was so far away from home, so like she became home, so it was very hard to leave her.
One of my favorite behind the scenes moments for season 3, I'm an incredible nerd about my craft, and as a writer, performer, and also director, I just would be in Video Village watching Mike work, and not too creepily. Hopefully, I didn't feel like I was, but I love to see him, at his, operating in the flow of his purpose and his calling, and just watching the DP, Ben Hutchins, sort of like talk through the moves that he's gonna make visually. And I think there's a real artistry that happens behind the scene with the show. And to watch it happen, my little nerdy heart was very happy.
Something is off. What the fuck is this place?
If I could pick anywhere for another White Lotus, it would be the continent. I'd go to Africa, Morocco, Egypt, South Africa. I think there's a beauty and diversity, and a real conversation needs to be had about, classism there.
Well, I'm gonna say Africa, because Africa is a place I've always wanted to go to. So that would be an amazing location for the next White Lotus.
I really want to see them do one in a cold place, like a skiing one, because I feel like it's exactly the right kind of clientele, but like, it'd be so cool to have like a snowy vibe. I think part of what makes it great is that the fact it is hot in all these places and everyone is a bit like flustered and sweaty, and that's great. So I'd love to see how that would change, and everyone in their great ski outfits. I think that would be brilliant.
There has been more crime on the island.
I'm a little freaked out. I think we need to call the police.
In reading the scripts, I absolutely had initial theories. I feel like I did season 2. Like season 2, I didn't have the scripts. I was just in the audience with everyone else.
I did have theories, and then I was wrong about all of them. I was like, this is definitely gonna be this is definitely gonna be that. And then I carried on reading, and I was like, oh, and that's why Mike's so amazing, because you're constantly just guessing the whole way through. Like when I was reading them, by the time I got to like episode 4, I was like, I've figured it out. I know what the ending is. And I was so off. I was so wrong.
I think I'm like the best sleuth there is, right? Everyone thinks they are. But then when you sit down and watch the show or read, you're taken by surprise time and time again. And so every turn, I was wrong this time.
I had no idea. I mean, it's just like when you're watching it. I mean, that's why I just back to back. I read them all at once. It's about 8 or 9 hours. It's incredible, because there's obviously someone's murdered at the top, and you're just so invested in figuring out who it is at the end.
We're still the same people we were in the 10th grade.
You're always disappointed.
And you're always fake, and you're vain and selfish.
Oh gosh, gosh. I mean, getting all 8 scripts in my inbox, I mean, it was gold. It was gold. I was on a flight to Australia. I found out I got the role like 2 days before I got on a plane. I didn't sleep on the plane, let's just put it that way. I looked at all 8 scripts and it was amazing. I felt like a kid in a candy store.
I couldn't believe how much I loved Chelsea. I was like, I loved her so much immediately and couldn't believe some of the lines that Mike had given me. It's like, this is a gift. Like, these are golden. So that was my initial thing, very self-obsessed. But then when I reread again, I was like, there's so much stuff. It felt like the biggest in a way.
Stress management meditation. Yeah, you need this.
Gluten-free rice and coconut balls? What are we at a fucking fat farm?
I'm particularly fond of Armand from season 1. Yeah, he's hysterical. And I just love that storyline. I thought it was amazing. I love to see him go off the rails.
Oh my God. Well, I love, actually, one of my favorite scenes is from season 1 when Belinda gives Tanya the massage. Like, that is one of my, and I just think Natasha and Jennifer in that scene, incredible. Steve Zahn, like in the first season, who plays the dad of the family, like Sydney Sweeney, and that family, like Connie, and they were also like and the son, like all of their stuff I just loved. Like I think like he was my favourite in season 1. And in season 2, just the dynamic between the couples, like I just love that edgy kind of dicey, where everything's like so close to bubbling over. But yeah, and there's a lot of that with like the girls' holiday this season, like Leslie, Carrie and Michelle. There's a lot of like that great passive aggression that Mike does so well.
There's a pretty fantastic scene in season 2 with Aubrey Plaza walking by a fountain that is almost a shot-for-shot remake of this old film that Mike had studied, and the name of that film escapes me. But there's a moment of breath in the way it's shot, and it's like watching music, if that makes sense. Like the movement of the way the camera moves and the way Aubrey moves, it's just stunning. And I remember finding out later that it was a visual comp to an older movie that inspired Mike. It just obviously revealed more about how, intricate and detailed his mind works when it comes to these things.